So, hello. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yep, hello, I'm Kia Merrill. I live in Upchurch and I've lived here for about 7 years. I live with my husband and our two little boys.
Right. And they've grown, haven't they?
Yep, 3 and 1 now they are.
Gosh.
Yeah.
So, would you like to explain what you've been doing these last few months?
Yeah, so in March we started kind of a food bank for the elderly and the vulnerable in the village, so people who couldn't get to the shops. And we had so many donations. We had more food than we could distribute because most people, actually older people, did have families. But what we did find is we had lots of families saying, if you've got fresh food left over, could we have it? Because people who were using the food bank had lots of dried food, tinned food, but families weren't getting fresh food or fresh fruit and vegetables, stuff to go in their freezer. So when we had stuff like that left over, we got lots of calls from families asking if they could have it. And from speaking to those families, doing a bit of research, talking to the food bank, we realised that there's a real gap for families where they could access the food bank, they could access other places that brought food boxes, but they were always non-perishables. And there was nowhere offering them fresh fruit and vegetables, which for families was a real struggle because obviously we want children to have fruit and vegetables to be able to make healthy meals. And so we got a little grant from the council and we started up a food bank, but a fresh and frozen delivery service.
What inspired you to think of doing something like this in the first place?
The catalyst was the free school meals, I think, not being supported over the holidays, because that's when our calls really increased for people needing food who weren't necessarily able to access the food bank because it was kind of too late by the time it was decided. Right. And then seeing the need over that week. Originally, we just tried to raise £100 to do it for the week of half term.
Yes. And
then it just carried on because the need didn't finish after half term, so it's continued and continued.
Yeah. And where would you say or sense that God has been at work in this in some way, maybe for you personally?
I think for us, it's the link between, I think we talked about before, the link between community and church. So for us, the idea of church, I'm stealing this from you a bit, but we talked about church not being necessarily a place. And that's always been the case for me and my husband. So we don't attend church every Sunday, but we've always felt that being Christian or having Christian values and living in a Christian way is our version of church, and being part of our community and doing good within our community. That is our church. And I think for us, seeing the village come together, every single time we've done anything, whether it was the original thing for the elderly, whether it was the food banks, or now we've been making stockings for children to go out on Christmas Eve for them to open from Father Christmas. Every time we've put something out there to the village and said, look, we're thinking of doing this, can anybody help us? It's come back tenfold. So we would expect, if we expected 3 people to donate, we've had 30 people donate. Every single time it's surpassed our expectations. And I think that's where, for us, we see God's work, because it's everybody caring about people that they don't know. There's nothing in it for themselves. It's wanting to do something for the good of other people. And I think for us, that is Christianity, that kindness, that love of your community and your neighbours. And having faith in other people, the faith that I'm going to do what I've said I'm going to do with the money, that the people that we're giving the food to really need it. It's not been questioned. People have faith in each other. And I think that's as important as having faith in God, because if you have faith in God but you don't have faith in your fellow humans, it doesn't balance out, I don't think.
So do you think this will come to an end? Do you think this will carry on in some shape or form? Do you think?
Yeah, initially, I think as we said, initially we thought it would be a week. And then we said, maybe we'll try and carry it on until Christmas. And now we've had lots of other people get involved. So I have a friend who's a fundraiser for cancer research, and she's been helping us. And my sister-in-law is a specialist for applying for grants for charity. So she's been helping us with funding. So although me and my husband are moving away, we're moving closer to my parents in the new year, we're hoping to continue it. So we're hoping that if I can manage the logistics of
Yeah.
you know, working with the families and things like that. All we need is, I think, 4 people to volunteer to be delivery drivers.
Yeah.
So 2 hours every 2 weeks
Yeah.
to come and help. Then I think we'll be able to continue it. So yeah.
Well, I think what you've been doing has been brilliant. And it's amazing what sometimes an idea of one person, it's a bit like a rolling stone gathers moss, isn't it? So,
Yeah.
and you know, as I've listened to you, and I know we chatted about this once or twice, for me there has been this sense of God at work through what you've been doing. So thank you and bless you, because I know you have been blessing a lot of people by what you've been doing.
It's been a pleasure to do it.
That's great. Thank you for your time.